Good day, this is Ma.Christina Lim, and this video is for the laboratory exercise number 4 for the course of Data Communications and Networking 2. So as you can see here, this is the topology that is required on this laboratory experiment. We have already cabled the network, so let us hop on performing the basic configurations on the router 1. Okay, this is R1. So on R1, let us enter first the privilege exec mode using the command enable, and using the command configure terminal, let us enter the global configuration mode. Once in, let us configure the host name, respectively R1, and disable the DNS lookup with the command no IP domain -lookup. After that, let us configure the exec mode password with the command enable secret class. Once done, let's configure the banner for the router, which is a message that will be shown while trying to access the router. So to do that, we would need to use the command banner motd and enter the message that we would like to display. And for this activity, we would use authorized access only. Okay, now that we have configured the banner, let us configure the password for the console and the virtual terminal interface of the router. So we would use the command line console 0, set up the password as Cisco, log in and exit, line VTY04 to access the virtual terminal, set the password to Cisco also, log in and exit. Now that we have configured the basic passwords, the basic configurations for the router 1, which is the password for the console, for the virtual terminal, and for the exec mode, we have also renamed the host or the router and have set a banner. We would like now to configure the IP addresses on the ports that we are using on this network. So first, let us configure the port fast Ethernet 00 or FA00 with the command interface fast Ethernet 00. Let us set the IP address as is stated on the laboratory experiment, which is 192.168.1.1, using the subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and use the command no shut for the port to be up and running. Now that we have configured the fast Ethernet port that we are using on this router, let us configure the serial port that we are using with the command interface serial 0/0/0 and use the IP address stated on the document, which is 192.168.2.1 with the same subnet mask as the fast Ethernet port. Okay, and since we are using a DCE serial cable, let us set the clock rate to 64,000 and use the command no shut for the port to be up and running. Now we can see here that the port state is changed to down. Even though we have used the command no shut, this is because we haven't configured the other end of the serial cable yet, which we will do while we are on the router 2 later on this video. So now that we have configured the basic configuration on the router 1, we have also configured the IP addresses of the port that we are using on this router. What we would like to do next is to save the configuration that we have declared on this router. So to do that, use the command copy running -config startup-config. This is to save the current configuration on the router 1. So once it is booted up or rebooted, the configuration that we did will stick into the router. Okay, so now that we are done with configuring router 1, we should configure router 2. Okay, what is this? Okay, let's turn it off. Turn it on again. Let's just wait for the router 2 to boot up. Okay, so just like what we did on the first router, let us configure the basic needs of the router. So use the command enable to enter the exec mode, and use the command configure terminal to enter the privilege exit. To enter the global configuration mode, so first thing we would like to do is rename the router to R2 and disable the DNS lookup using the command no IP domain -lookup, and enable the password for the exit mode using the command enable secret class. Set the banner let's use the same message as that we used on the first router. Alright, now we would need to set the password for the console. Line console 0, password Cisco, login, exit, and for the virtual terminal, line VTY04, password Cisco, login, and exit. Now that we have done the basic configuration, let us configure the IP addresses of the ports that we are using on this router, which is, let's start on the Okay, let's start on the port of the serial interface. Interface serial 0/0/0. Let us use the IP address that it is stated on the document for this laboratory experiment, which is 192.168.2.2. Subnet mask is the same that we use on the router 1, which is 255.255.255.0. Okay, hit enter and use the command no shot. Okay, as you can see, the serial port 000 state is up. And as you can see here now in our topology, it's green. Both ports are green, meaning they are both up and running. Okay, now let's move on in configuring the fast Ethernet port 00 that we are using on this router also. So interface fast Ethernet 0/0. Sorry. Okay, let's go down. Ethernet. Okay, so let's set the IP address to 192.168.3.1 with the same subnet mask that we are using, and use the command no shot for the port to be up and running. Okay, now that we have configured the basic configuration for the router 2 and have also declared the IP addresses on the ports that we are using for this network, let us now save the configuration that we have done. So use the command copy startup config, copy running dash config startup config. Once you are sure, hit enter twice. Okay, now we have configured both router 1 and router 2. The next thing that we would need to do is configure the host PC1 and PC2. Now on PC1, let's enter the IP address that is stated on the laboratory experiment, which is 192.168.1.1 with the subnet mask 192.168.1.10 with the subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and use the default gateway of the router 1's 192.168.1.1. Now on PC2, we would need to do the same. We would need to change the IP address to 192.168.3.10 with a subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and the default gateway is set to 192.168.3.1. Now that we have set the basic configuration on the R1, R2, and both of the PC, we would like to verify and test the configurations that we made. So to do that, let us go to the first router and use the command show IP route. This command will be giving us which are directly connected to the network that were activated when we configure the interfaces on this router. So as we can see here, we have two directly connected ports and addresses on this router, which is the one that we have configured earlier, the fast Ethernet port and the serial port 000. Okay, let us check the other router using the same command, show IP route. As you can see here, the addresses and the ports that we have configured earlier is now saved and is stated as directly connected on the router. Okay, so after this we would need to verify the interface configuration using the command show IP interface brief. So this command would quickly verify the configuration on each router's interfaces. Okay, so as we can see here, the ports that we are using, namely the Fast Ethernet 00 and the serial port 000, are manually up with the addresses that we have declared earlier. So to check the router 2, let us use the same command, show IP interface brief. Okay, so we have here the addresses that we have set earlier, and like the router 1, the ports are running. Okay, now that we have configured and verified the configuration that we have, we would like now to check the connectivity of all the configurations that we have done up until now. So to test the connectivity, we would like to ping from each host to the default gateway that has been configured for that host. Okay, so to do that, let's go first on the first PC. On the command prompt, let's ping the address of the default gateway, which is 192, then 168, that 1.1. Okay, so as we can see, there is a positive connection and the ping that we have sent to the default gateway is received. So now to check the connectivity on the PC2, let's try on sending a ping on its default gateway, which is 192.168.3.1. Is this correct? Correct. Okay. So the ping is successful, meaning there is a positive connection on the PC to the default gateway. Okay. So the PCs are physically connected to the correct router. Yes. The lights blinking on all relevant ports. Yes, they are. The PC configurations are as it is needed. We have configured the correct IP address, default gateway, and subnet mask as it is stated on the laboratory experiment. They match the topology diagram, and we have also checked the router interfaces. This is for the router 1 and this is for the router 2. Okay. All the interfaces that we need are up, and we are successful in sending ping to the gateway. Now we have tested the connectivity of the PC to the gateway and the configurations of the router. Now we would like to test the connectivity between the router 1 and router 2. So from router 1, is it possible to ping R2 using the command ping 192.168. So let's try that one. Ping 192.168.2.2. Okay, so as we can see here, the success rate is 100%, meaning R1 can ping R2. So now let's try sending ping from R2 to R1. The address is 192.168.2.1. So you can see the success rate is also 100%. Okay, so we are successfully able to ping R2 to R1 and R1 to R2. So to check if we have did the right configuration, we would like to attempt to ping from the host connected to the R1, which is the PC1, to ping the host connected to the R2, which is the PC2. So let's try ping 192.168. What is the PC address? 168.3.10. So this ping should be unsuccessful. Okay. Okay, so let's attempt now to ping the host connected to the R1. Let's try to attempt to ping from the host connected to the R1 to the R2. Okay. Let's try to ping the PC connected to R2 to the PC connected to R1, which should also be unsuccessful. 192.168.1.10. So this ping should also be unsuccessful since they have this different addresses and we haven't configured the needed configuration for them to know each other. So this ping should be unsuccessful. Let's see. Okay, so it's working as it should be. So right now we would like to test and observe. So on router 1, let us use the following command that is stated or asked on the laboratory experiment, which is to show running config, show running dash config. Okay, so as you could see here, we have used the host name is R1 as we have set earlier. There is enable secret password, no IP domain lookup. The address that we have for the fast Ethernet, port 00, and for the internet interface serial port 000, with the clock rate that we have set earlier, which is 64,000. The banner that we have declared earlier, the line console password, and the virtual terminal password. So all the configurations that we have declared earlier is saved and is running on the router 1. So now let's see the IP route on this router. So you could see here we have the same result like earlier. There is two directly connected connection on the router, namely from the fast Ethernet port and the serial port that we are using. And show IP interface brief. With this command, we could see here that the serial port that we have declared earlier has the address that we want. Same goes for the fast Ethernet port 00 with the address that we have declared earlier. So let's also check the configuration on the router 2. Let's use the command show running -config hostname R2, secret pass is enabled, no IP domain lookup, the address that we have set for the fast Ethernet port 00, the address that we have set for the serial port 000, the banner that we declared, and the password for the console and for the virtual terminal line. And that concludes the laboratory experiment number 4.